Hey everyone, it's Sophie from Build Your Jungle, and today I'm going to be doing a plant repotting because I've finally remembered to order soil. So there's quite a bit of stuff that for weeks and weeks and weeks I've kept saying that really needs repotting, and I've not had the soil to do it. So today we're cracking on, we're going to get some stuff repotted, and as I'm saying this I've realised that I've forgotten to get the pots. Many pots. In order to start doing some repotting, you need to open this huge box. Please excuse the soil and other items on my floor. So this is the box. I've kind of forgot what I've ordered, to be honest, but it's definitely like my usual substrates and stuff. I don't think I got cactus one because I still had some. This box is so heavy I had to get Aaron to lift it up here for me. So this one is the houseplant base mix, which is the normal cocoa coir worm castings and perlite one that is perfect for anything that's not a tropical plant. This one's the Monstera and Philodendron mix, which is the really chunky mix that I use for all my aroids and also my Hoyas as well. Jeez, I picked the biggest pot size. I ordered a couple pots from here because I never have big pots. But I think I've underestimated how big this pot would be because, oh my gosh, it is huge pots. But the good news is that's big enough for my Monstera, so yay. And I also got a mini orchid bark because I only have one orchid, but it really needs repotting. Oh my god, I just slapped off one of the Hoyas that I'm going to repot with my hand and smacked it off my desk, but it's all good. Alright, so now I've got this gigantic box taking up all the room in here. And as you guys will know, I always use Soil Ninja. They're my favourite substrate brand. No other brand comes close in my opinion. They did not ask me to say this. It is not sponsored. I bought the stuff with my own money. Okay. Side note, this table got kind of ruined the other day. Well, just the top of it did when I was doing houseplant hangout on TikTok, because this is like wallpaper or something that someone's put on this and it's just coming off. So I'm going to take it off and repaint it. But it means that today I'm very much less bothered about getting stuff on it. We're going to start with a little one, and it's one of my favourite ones. And it's Hoya Houseplants Variegata. It's so pink. It's got like the pinkest leaves ever. This was one that was really slow to get going for me, but now that it has, it's really popping off. So let's get in there and take a look at the roots. See, this is the Monstera and Philodendron mix, and it's so good that when you repot stuff, it literally just falls out. It's not an effort at all. So the roots are really white and nice, and I don't want to disturb it because it's growing so well. But it was in one of these pots that I hate. I hate these pots. They're like so flimsy, but at the time it was all that I had. So let's get it in something less rubbish. This one is the one. Hoya are actually epiphytes. I feel like I'm always saying this on this channel, but yeah, they're epiphytes. So they need a really chunky mix because they wouldn't be in the wild, just like in a thick soil medium. They'd be like on trees and stuff, and their roots would have access to oxygen. So it's really important that they're in a mix that airs out the roots still. Hair to get dirty, it says. I'm trying. I'm not strong enough. I've been really keen to get this one trailing, so you may have noticed that I've deliberately put it near the side of the pot in hopes that soon she will cascade majestically. over the edge. Here I've got my Hoya Bella, and she's not got any roots growing out the bottom, but she's always thirsty and she's grown loads since being in this pot. So I'm thinking, and even that just top bit of exposed stem is looking very rooty. So I'm thinking that she probably needs a repot. And there's another vine starting from the base here as well. So I'm really excited. She's always waiting. Oh my goodness, there's a peduncle. There is a peduncle. I've never had this Hoya bloom for me. I'm so excited. If you don't know that much about Hoyas, a peduncle is where the buds form from when they have these beautiful flowers. Oh my god, oh my god. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And these get beautiful white blooms. So I'm going to be super gentle because I do not want to affect the peduncle. Wow. Again, those roots are looking super nice and white. And this is traditionally one of the easiest Hoyas to get to bloom. I've only got my Wyetii to bloom so far. My Croniana Blackleaf started to, but then it got bud drop, which when the buds literally drop off and they don't finish going through the blooming process. But Hoya Bella is known for being super easy to get to bloom. I just think mine wasn't big enough yet. Literally, we've been doing this 5 minutes. There's already soil all over my floor. Next, I'm going to do one of my absolute favourites at the moment, and it's my Alocasia Platinum that Harriet got for me. And I'm so loving this plant. I'm obsessed with it. I love the silveriness of the leaves. It's like leather. It's just so cool and alien. And there's this little calm in here. And this was the leaf that it was producing during its way to me. And obviously that one struggled a bit, but it's got another third leaf coming on this little one, and it's given me this leaf in my care, so I'm really excited. I seem to have got the hang of alocasias now. It's just more about letting them dry out completely before watering. And also they're really heavy feeders, so fertilizing them literally every time that you water them. After much debate, we're going to repot into the Monstera and Philodendron mix, because I was really looking the Alocasia mix on Soil Ninja and comparing it to this, and I thought really it was very similar, so it seemed pointless getting both. And I promised this little calm to Jules as well, so I need to pot that up separately for Jules, and we'll also take a look to see if there's any other calms in here. Wow. Got some lovely healthy roots, again, like no rot whatsoever. I feel like this is the part where people will be screaming at the TV or phone or whatever you're watching this on. The Alocasia like to be root bound, so we'll see. I'm not going up that much bigger though, like it's not that much bigger. This is a little different to when I usually upsize the pot size of things, because I am wanting to remove this mix. It's not the worst mix, I have to say. Plants for All Seasons, which is where I got this from, it's quite a good mix. I think it's the best nursery plant mix that I've ever seen, because usually it's just straight coir or really soggy peat, but this is quite good. It has drainage in it, but it's not good enough. It's not what I want to keep it in the long term, so we are trying to get this substrate away from the roots. Also, I need to get it off to look for the calms. They're basically like tiny little onions in here, and it's kind of like it's laying an egg to make a new one. I also think there is one of those nets in here, but I did get most of it off before repotting it, but it's clearly not bothered the plant very much. Just be brave, just be brave, just be brave. Brave, brave. I did it. I did it, guys. Right, now I'm just gotta get this little guy's roots out. Free him. Oh my gosh, this is so rooted. Jules, you are gonna be able to grow this definitely. I was worried all the roots were gonna be like none for this and that it might be a struggle. Oh my god. Yes, baby. And I don't think, oh, there might be a comb here. But other than that, I don't think that there are. But it looks like here and here are going to start to grow another offshoot off like this. There's one here. Again, I think I'm best leaving that attached to the plant. Sometimes they just like put them out further into the mix. And when I have a whole bunch of roots like this, and if this was a philodendron, I probably would have like pruned the roots a bit, but because I'm still a bit nervous about just getting the alocasia care just right, I don't want it to go into shock. So I'm just making sure that I do the thing that I can do sometimes where I hold it up while I start to fill it in so that some substrate can get in between all the roots and they're not just in like one big clump. And I am going to water to this, and I am going to fertilise it. And usually I don't fertilise plants that I've just repotted, but I am going to for the alocasia because I don't want it to drop any of its lovely leaves. But there we go. She's so beautiful. Oh, it stresses me out when it's one that I love so much. And then let's pop the little baby. Also, I don't know if I should leave the dodgy leaf on. Will it be all right? Alocasia people, let me know, because I don't want to unalive it before I give it to Jules. Because this one's really little and it's not got as much roots, I'm just going to mix a tiny bit of houseplant base mix with the Monstera or Philodendron mix. Is the mama and the baby. So cute. This one, which has a pencil in it currently because it needs a support, is Philodendron Burlmarx Variegata. And I was quite keen to do this one because I saw roots at the bottom, like circling around, but also because it looks like it might have a little bit of white mold at the bottom. So I wanted to check that out. This is one that just roots like crazy. You can see it's thrown out all these aerials and then they've gone back into the substrate and made a huge, big, robust root system. And honestly, I don't know if I've got a support for it still at the moment, so I'm probably going to use the pencil, don't come for me, and switch it to a pole. Put it back in that one. Put it back in that one. What am I going to put it into? Didn't think this through, didn't think it through at all. I have a plan. So here we have probably the worst looking golden pothos in the entire house. And this substrate is kind of dirty. I don't know what this stuff is all over it, but also it's got some like of that mold that goes on top. So I also think it's got flower pot fungus, which is harmless, but still bleh. I'm gonna take this out. I'm imagining that because this used to have more vines in it, and some of them rotted down, and I'm imagining that I can put this into a smaller pot. So I'm going to take this out, wash the pot, and use this for the philodendron, because as always, I am low on this size of pot. Yeah, see, I've only got these roots on this, so this can actually go in quite a small pot now. Gosh, it's an absolute chaos in this room right now. Chaos in this room. There are two types of plant people, the ones that are very neat repotters and the ones like me. I'm also really excited because last night we realised that our powder orange isopods have had babies, and we almost squished one when we realised, because I was taking out an old piece of fruit that I'd put in there to feed them, and I saw babies on it and I was like, oh my god. And with this whole pencil thing, like, one thing that I do think about it is that it shows that you can adapt and use your random things when you don't have the right materials. And I've kind of improvised because this pot wasn't really big enough. Usually I wouldn't fill my pots up this high. I've also kind of focused on putting more substrate around the middle. I usually call this, in my own mind, I call this the sandcastle effect, but that's probably a load of nonsense. But it's because I didn't want the very base of the vine to be exposed, but plants with so many roots like this often push themselves up out of the pot like anthurium do. And you can see she's working on loads of new leaves for me. And she's so lovely. I've got this little Maranta silver band prop that was from Jaws. I think I had two and the other one rotted, but this one has some nice roots. So I'm going to try and pot it up. And I'm actually going to use lava rock, which I will just show you this. This is what I've saved from my original Maranta. Oh, why am I so clumsy, guys? Oh my gosh, right. I guess I'll tell you as I fix it then. I was going to say this is my original Maranta fascinator, and I had to prop it because it got root rot. Honestly, it's because parts of my hands go numb and I just like, it makes me drop stuff all the time. So I was gonna say I've put this one in semi-hydro because I wanted to make it easier for myself to get the watering right. And I used lava rock. And I've been using the technique where you have a reservoir in the bottom of your lava rock. Originally, I did this one on TikTok live, but clearly I just it colossally. Yeah, this one's been doing really well in here and will top up the reservoir. Now that I did that, I've got some left over, so I've decided for Maranta I'm just going to be seeing how it goes with this. So let's get this one in semi-hydro as well. This is some lava rock that I already rinsed off the other day. Lava rock doesn't have to be soaked for ages like leca. You just want to rinse it off until it runs clear. And I'm just going to cut off this one leaf that's gotten a bit crispy. And what you do is you fill the reservoir up to about here, and then with fertilizer water, I've just been using Baby Bio at the moment. I mean, I used to use Super Thrive when I do semi-hydro, but we're just going to see how it goes with Baby Bio because that's what I've got. And the lava rock basically creates, oh, so clumsy today, very moist pockets of air between it. Where the roots like to go to absorb moisture, and you'll see very like white fuzzy roots developing because they're developing loads of hair to increase the surface area on the roots to make it easier to absorb moisture. This is the Fatsia japonica spider's web that I got from U Garden on TikTok shop. It's absolutely beautiful. It's got gorgeous variegation. This leaf's crisped up a bit. This substrate that it's in is not the best, and I was worried about overwatering it, so I've been erring on the side of underwatering it while I've been waiting for my soil, hence the crisping. Fatsia is a plant that if you lose any leaves, so like if I lose this leaf, new leaves will grow back from that site, whereas with a lot of plants they don't do that. You can see new leaves coming through there already, and they really white, so I'm excited to see that. So I'm hoping what the deal is when I take this out of the pot is that I can just pot it back into this pot, but with good substrate. I think I may struggle to get the substrate off. And these are just like fertilizer balls. I used to think they were eggs. I used to think they were insect eggs, but they're fertilizer balls. The thing about Fatsia is they are like really hardy. They grow outside in the UK and they're frost hardy. So if there's a plant that can take me giving its leaves, giving its roots a bit of a rough go, it's the Fatsia. Oh, there's a millipede. Please come here. Ah! Oh my god, millipede. Where am I going to put you? Oh, you're a centipede actually, aren't you? Where am I going to put you? Why do I do this? Dude, don't look at me like that. Right, he's going in this cup. Is it weird that the longer that I've known the millipede, the more that I'm beginning to accept him and actually quite like him and think he's quite cute? These roots have been rinsed and now this is going back into this pot with Monstera and Philodendron mix. I know this grows in quite a dense medium outside in this country, but because I'm growing it inside, it's very humid in here. I think it will just be better off in the aroid mix. And there we go. Lovely. And I'm going to fertilise this one as well, just because it's got so many active growth points at the moment. I'm probably going to lose this leaf. It was probably because of under fertilising. I'm going to take this weird one off, and there's a new auxiliary bud underneath that leaf already. This is one that, again, I would like to get it on a pole. I don't have a pole right now, and it's super root bound because I can just feel it through the pot anyway. And it's my Syngonium T24, and it recently gave me a really rubbish tiny leaf. It's working on one that's a bit better at the moment, but I think one massive factor in that, as well as under fertilizing, is being root bound. And yeah, it's very root bound. So let's tease that away. And Syngoniums are an aroid, even though you might not think that they are. So they have these very chunky roots as well. And root colour can vary from species to species. The ones here are looking quite bright and orange, but they smell good. They're not rotting. There we go, and that's given that some more space to carry on producing the roots that it needs to support the foliage. I'm going to bring this pencil back out. Oh, I'm waiting for all the narky comments about the pencil. I'm giving this pencil until I can switch it to a pole. This is my Hoya Chroneana black leaf, and I kept knocking it off the shelf, and I knocked it off the shelf in my live the other day, and it just lost all the soil, went through the cracks in my floorboard, and I didn't have any of the soil, so I temporarily shoved this lava rock in here to weigh it down and stop the plant from just coming out of the pot, and also to try and stop the roots from being dehydrated. So I just wanted to top it up with some actual soil. This poor plant, she was doing so well until I kept absolutely just punching her off the shelf. And after the second time, everyone on TikTok was like, okay, Sophie, move the plant. There we go, a very quick fix. Okay, and then these golden pothos that we borrowed the pot from. And I'm using Monstera and Philodendron mix again. Pothos or Epipremnum, they do really, really well in this mix. And one of my new goals for this year, which I'm adding now, is to take better care of the plants that aren't, you know, my favourites, like ones that are tucked at the back and stuff. I always forget about this pothos. The leaves are super dusty, so I just have to. And this lives in very low light, and usually Epipremnum aureum has a lot of this bright yellow or golden, hence golden pothos, variegation. But the lower light that you give this plant, it can revert, and you can see that's what's happened here. It's just gone to a plain green Epipremnum. We've already burned through 5 litres of Monstera Philodendron mix today. So anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me repot some plants. Let me know in the comments down below, what plants have you repotted recently? I would love to know. At the moment, I'm posting long form videos on Fridays, so please hit that button, subscribe to be notified when I next make a video. I also post every day on TikTok. There's all kinds of funky business on there. And I do live shows every Sunday and every other Monday. It's a lot of fun. And I hope you're having a great day thinking about houseplants.